think when you're a twin, you really have a special bond. And I did feel like a part of me was being torn away. And that was super, super hard.
Hello, and welcome to the Twin Mom Life Podcast. I'm your host, Jess. I created this podcast to help build community, connection, and most importantly, friendships among moms of multiples. Being a twin mom can be amazing and magical. That twin bond is unlike anything I've ever witnessed. But it can also be isolating and overwhelming. I'll be chatting with other twin moms, diving deep into the twin experience, giving advice on what works for us so you don't have to learn the hard way. Juggling two babies at the same time is challenging, but I'm confident we can learn from each other and figure out how to raise these babies together. Hi,
Hi.
welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited. So today I have Maiah,
Hello.
and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I am a twin. So I have a twin sister, and we have younger brothers who are twins. And I actually have twin girls myself and a little toddler. So a lot of twins, as you know.
Surrounded by twins.
Yes.
I cannot believe that. And do you want to tell the ridiculous story of how we met?
Sure, sure. So this is crazy. We obviously both live in Central Texas now, but my family was on vacation in Carlsbad, California, and we were on the beach, and I was hanging out with some friends, including a friend with twin babies, and she has identical twin boys. They're around 1.5 at the time, I think, something like that. And so Jess's husband was sitting on the beach by himself, and my friend's babies kept crawling over to him and kind of playing with him, playing at his feet. And my friend was so embarrassed. She was like, I'm so sorry. I don't know why my twins are all over you and trying to,
He's
engage with you.
attracting twins.
Yes. And he goes, Oh, don't worry about it. I actually have twins too. We have identical twin babies. And he goes, I'm going to text my wife and get her down here. And then my friends were like, Oh, it's crazy. She's a twin and she has twin brother, blah, blah, blah. She has twins too. It's just twins on the beach. So what did he text you?
He texted me so I was back at our Airbnb with the boys while they were napping. And he texted me something like, oh my gosh, come back to the beach ASAP. There's twins everywhere or something,
Yes.
something like that.
Exactly. So, and then we're still chatting while we're waiting for Jess and the twins. And I noticed he's wearing a Texas shirt. I forgot what it said, or maybe just the
I
state
think
of Texas.
Texas first everybody.
Yeah, something like that. So I go, Oh, are you from Texas? And he says, Yeah, I'm from a small town though. You wouldn't have heard of it. And just joking, I go, Liberty Hill. And I don't know if you want.
It's like
Anyway,
the shock.
yes. And then so we were both shocked. I go, That's where I live too. So we exchanged info about where we live. And I was like, Oh my gosh, I think we live just a couple miles apart. That is crazy. And then Jess shows up and she's like, You're like, I recognize you.
You look really familiar to me. Do you have a gluten-free, dairy-free bakery?
Yeah, it turns out she'd been following me on Instagram. So she knew me from Instagram and was like, Oh, I follow you on Instagram. And of course, all my friends on the beach were like, Are you a celebrity? This is crazy. And I'm like, No, that's a very small chance somebody that knows me showed up on this beach. But it was wild. We found out we had both lived in the same area in California previously, never crossed paths. And then we both lived in Texas, Liberty Hill, small town, and never crossed paths. But yeah, I thought that was pretty wild. And here we are. We met in California and we live in Texas next to each other.
It's so fun and wild and crazy small world.
Yes, absolutely. So we were meant to be friends for sure.
Yes. And then we reconnected kind of again.
Exactly. We kind of lost touch. We were like, Oh, we'll totally hang out. And then, after travels, everything's crazy life, we kind of lost touch. We just didn't arrange to meet up anytime. And so we were just kind of like, Oh, yeah, going our own way, doing our own thing. And then I made a friend at a park near my house and she kept going, You're going to love my friend Jess. She has twin boys. And the more she talked about you, I was like, Wait, I think I know this person. I think I met her on a beach in California.
Randomly in the California beaches.
And we kept missing each other by minutes at the park. She'll be like, Oh, just left. Or, Oh, Maiah just left. And then finally we reconnected and hit it off. And now we actually hang out and text each other and we didn't forget about each other.
Yes. So fun. Okay, so before we get into the podcast, I want to ask every guest what they did to fill their cup. So I know it's early in the morning, so maybe you haven't filled your cup personally today, but maybe it could be this week or as a mom, our schedules are so busy and we're always thinking about our kids first. So,
Absolutely.
what are you going to do to fill your own cup?
Well, what I already did, which may not look like it, but I put on more normal clothes than I
You
normally
look
do
so cute.
and some jewelry, which I almost never do. So I went to drop my son off at daycare. Normally, I'm just on my way to the gym wearing sweats, looking grungy, no makeup, and the hair messy. And I was like, I'm going to actually put on a little, even though I was like, we're not being recorded, but I'm going to make myself look a little bit nicer than normal. I know that I feel better when I do that. And I don't know why I don't wear normal clothes or make an effort more often because I notice my energy goes up and I feel better about myself. The days I sit around in like my pajamas or like sweats all day, I'm like, why do I do this to myself? So that's a little tiny thing I did today
Yes,
already.
I feel the same way. I didn't put makeup on, but I did. I'm wearing pants
Yeah, real
and
pants.
not
Yes.
yoga pants. I feel like whenever I do that, my kids are like, is there a special
Oh,
occasion? And
yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm just getting dressed for the day, sweetie.
Yes. And when I say dress for the day, I am still wearing yoga pants, but I've incorporated them into my normal outfit because I'm a weirdo and I can't do, I really have a hard time with jeans or structured pants. I don't know why.
These are very stretchy. I feel
Yeah,
like
that's key.
that
That's
helps.
key.
Well, you look
Absolutely.
very adorable.
Oh, thank you.
And I feel like it does help to feel like to get ready for
Yes.
the day.
Yes.
So, well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So before we get into twin mom life, you are an entrepreneur. So
Yeah.
can you share? We talked a little bit about, briefly that I knew you from
Yes.
Liberty Hill Bakery,
Yes.
but tell us
Uh-huh.
more about all of your
Yeah.
like
So I have a lot.
side projects.
Yes, I have a lot of side projects. Liberty Hill Bakery still do gluten-free vegan baking in the area, allergen-friendly stuff. So I sell to some coffee shops and things like that. And then I also, because I'm not busy enough with my kids, started a superfood stuffed date business, dip dates. So it's called Secret Date Society. And
Love that.
yeah, and then I
Very
do
clever.
thank you. I thought it was Secret Date Society was the cutest name ever. I thought it was clever. My husband warned me about this. Some people do think it's a dating, like a date.
Oh,
Shockingly, a lot of people haven't heard of dates. I've had a few people be like, "What's
what?
a date?" I I'm like, I don't like a
Dates are
big racing. I don't
delicious.
know. They're delicious. They are. So that's another thing I'm doing. And then I also have my personal Instagram and blog and do some creative stuff that way. And I was just telling Jess, I have a podcast called Best Bedtime Short Stories.
I can't wait to listen to
Yes,
it.
it's for kids. It's just like a sweet bedtime story podcast. And it actually started when my twins were small and they wanted a new story every night. And I would just be exhausted at the end of the day. Like, I don't know, I can't think of anything. So I started recording, like batch recording all these made up stories, like stream of
And
conscious made up
do you
stories.
make them up
Oh, yeah.
yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very
Half of
impressive.
them. I mean, you should hear them. They're it's funny though. And so I just, play them. I would just press play, lay back in the dark room while my twins listened to the story. And it was like, I felt like such a hack and like a cheat code
Yes.
to get them to calm down and go to sleep when I could just lay there too. So
That is a
that's how it
great
started.
hack. You're like, I'm tired. I'm going to play this recording.
Yep.
Beep.
And I'm still telling them a
Yes,
story. So it's still
absolutely.
me. It just
You put the work
not at the
in.
moment.
Yeah.
Work smarter, not harder. Yes. Yes.
That's very fun. Okay, and
Mhm.
what's your Instagram? It's so cute. I was just telling
Oh,
her, like, she looks like she's always ready for like a garden tea party. Like these fabulous dresses. She's so cute and funny.
it's 411 frosting.
And I'll put that in the show notes so
Okay,
people
fun.
can find
Yes,
you.
yes, I do a lot of lifestyle, healthy treats and stuff, but I also just do mom life and just general content and just kinda sharing my life.
I like your series, What It's Like to Be Married to Me, because I feel like I'm like, same,
Yes.
hilarious.
Yes, I do these little videos where I basically showcase my husband all the annoying things I do. So anyway,
They're very cute.
pretty fun, thank you.
Okay, so your girls are 10.
Yes, which is wild. They just turned 10 this year.
I can't believe that.
Mhm.
So you've been a twin mom for a decade.
Yes.
So what do you think was the hardest age?
Oh, 0 to 2.
Okay. I mean, I think that's helpful to know. I feel
Yes.
like a lot of people, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
who are going to be looking for this podcast are probably
Mhm.
people who are pregnant with twins or
Right.
young twin moms.
Yes.
I hope all twin moms, but I would imagine that
Yeah,
would be like a bigger demographic.
for sure.
So that's helpful because
Mhm.
my boys are only 2.5.
Okay,
So
yes.
I'm like,
You're getting
I
out of it now, I
think,
feel like.
yes,
Yes.
that's kind of what it feels like.
Uh-huh.
I mean, don't get me wrong, having twin toddlers is challenging
Yes.
in other ways. Like on a physical level,
Mhm.
they're fast and they
Yes.
run in different directions a
Yes.
lot.
Yes.
And like the tantrums and stuff, but I feel like I can handle it a little bit better because I know it's
Well,
temporary.
and you're getting more sleep now, I'm assuming. So
Absolutely.
that
You
is a
can,
life changer.
that's huge. You're totally
Yeah.
right. You can handle so much more when you've
Yes.
slept a solid night.
Yes. And a lot of twin parents, if you haven't had twins yet, you'll find this out. Or if you do, you can probably relate. A lot of times twins are premature. And a lot of times you're dealing with NICU time or more sleep issues, I think, than a singleton, like a single baby.
Sure.
And so, especially for the girls, like, you know how it is. When you're so tired, you feel like you're dying. Like, I remember numerous times, not that ever wanted to die. Luckily, I never had postpartum, like, soup. I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't like that level. But there were times when I was like, you know what? I'm so tired. If I don't wake up, I've had a good life. Dave's fine. He can take care of the kids. You're just so tired. You feel
Yeah.
like your body is literally shutting down.
Yeah, like, it could be
Yeah.
fine if it was over.
Yeah, if I just could
No.
just go to sleep and just stay asleep, I don't care what happens, I need to sleep, like, your body like, there's a reason sleep torture is a thing. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
torture.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Um,
That was the hardest by far.
yeah. Okay, that's good to know
Yes.
because in my short time as a twin mom, that's what it
Yes.
feels like.
Yes.
So that's good to know
Yeah.
that that is your
Oh,
opinion
yes.
as well.
And when I had the newborn twins, I would wear them in a carrier, a newborn twin carrier that I had. And I remember a twin mom coming up to me when the first times I got out and I was feeling like death, looked like death, I'm sure, because she comes up to me and goes, I have twin 3-year-olds. It's hard now, but it'll get better. And I just wanted to slap her because I just was like, 3 years is so far away. I can't handle
Sure.
this. You feel like you're dying in that moment when you're so tired. So what I always tell all twin parents is, we did it the wrong way. We didn't have any family nearby, no help. Family help is the number one biggest
Mm.
thing. And if you have no family, lean on your friends. I had so many friends offer to help with anything, and I just said, no, I'm fine. It's just this weird thing I think women do a lot too. They're like, even though my friends would have absolutely come over and done the laundry or cooked for me or anything, they would have jumped at the chance and they kept offering to help. And I just couldn't ask. And I don't know what it was. I was just like, we're fine. We're fine. You don't want to be seen as weak, I think.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have family nearby, you need to lean on friends or even I have a friend who hired a night nurse. And
Mm,
it's like, yes, I'm sure that is very, very expensive, but 100% worth it when you're feeling like you're dying or your relationship with your spouse is falling apart. Like for
sure.
us, that was the hardest time in our marriage also.
I feel like that's okay. So I agree with you 100% on having support.
Yes.
So I talked about that a lot in my first podcast with
Mhm.
my husband. So with our daughter, it was a wildly rough postpartum because we had no help whatsoever because it was
Yes.
COVID times.
Right.
And so that was unbelievably hard. So it was very different with the boys because we had so much help. His mom, my mom, our families, people doing meal trains, and it made a
Ah,
world of
so
a
nice.
difference.
Yes.
And the other thing that I think is interesting is you had your twins first.
Yes.
So that's different for me. I had a singleton first. And
Right.
I feel like it was almost easier to have it like practice on a singleton
Oh, okay.
because you were saying earlier that you didn't want like help. You feel like you had something to prove.
Yes.
I felt that way with Kaya.
And then you're like, oh, it's actually,
Yes.
I
Like,
actually do need help. Yes.
yeah, where with the boys,
Hmm.
even my mom will ask now, like, "Do you need help?" And I will tell her, I will never say no to that because
Yes.
there's always something to do.
Exactly.
But I didn't have that experience. I really did feel like I had something to prove. I wanted to show
Hmm.
everyone I could do it.
Yes.
And yeah, we're at the boys. I'm like, come on, want to hold
Exactly.
your
Who wants to
baby?
help?
Yeah. So
Yeah, I thought I was kinda thinking it'd be easier to do twins first, the way I mean, not that I planned it this way, but the twins first was kinda nice because it was all I knew, and you're thrown into that, and you're just, like, in survival mode, and you're just going, "I don't know what it's like to have 1 baby." Otherwise, maybe I'd be even more upset, I don't know, and by comparison, my 3-year-old now, like, when he was born, I was like, single babies are so easy.
sure.
I mean, that's not
It's all
really.
perspective
It's all
though.
perspective. Maybe compared to preemie twins, he was easy, and because he slept more than 1 hour at a time, but yeah.
Yes, I feel like that's interesting. It's all perspective. Motherhood really hit me upside the head with Kaya,
Yeah.
and I thought it was going to be easy or I guess like come more naturally.
Yeah.
And some things did and some things did not. So I
Mhm.
feel like having that practice with her was nice before having twins, but I can also see it from your point of view, the opposite
Yeah.
perspective that I'm sure Rory, your son, you're like,
Yes.
this is a piece of cake
Oh,
after
yeah.
two, just
Exactly.
because perspective.
And because you have 2 arms, 1 baby, that's so much
Yeah.
easier
Yeah.
than
That's interesting.
1 baby in each arm. But yeah, and I know you talked about postpartum on your last episode, which is awesome. I think that's something that everyone needs to acknowledge and not just twin moms for sure. And that was something where I think I don't know if this is true. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. This is my guess is that it might be harder to tell when you have twins if it's postpartum versus a single baby because when you're so sleep deprived and tired, I kept talking to my doctor and they kept asking how I'm feeling and I kept saying I'm just no energy. I'm so tired. I feel like I can barely keep my eyes open. And they're like, of course, you have twin babies. That's normal. And
Sure.
then it took a few months for me to be like, this is more than just being tired. Like, I
Right.
feel like I'm like so just down. And I love my babies, but other than them, like I was apathetic toward my husband, just like apathetic toward everything. And I think it took a while for the doctor to be like acknowledge, like, okay, well, let's talk. Maybe there is something more going
Than
on.
just sleep
Hmm.
deprivation. I feel like that's the difference too. And, luckily I didn't have it with the boys and I did have
Hmm.
it pretty badly with Kaya.
Yeah.
And I feel like a big difference was, having the two different postpartums was with Kaya, I was not only sleep deprived, like I was okay with no longer being on earth. And
Yeah.
I didn't have
Yeah.
a plan or,
Right.
like to not
Right.
not turn this into like a dark,
Sure. Sure. Sure.
but like I was okay with being like, okay, my life
Yeah.
could end here. And I think that
Yeah.
I would be okay with that. And I
Right.
never once felt like that with the boys.
No. Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm not just tired.
Some chemical in your
Something,
brain
yeah,
is,
like
yes.
something's off and
Yes.
something isn't
Uh-huh.
right. I also
Absolutely.
had a really hard time connecting with her.
Yeah.
And that was really hard for me. She cried all the time. We
Yes.
called her Crya.
We called Ivy
It
we
just,
we called Ivy
oh,
Angry Ivy. So that's also that girl would cry in her sleep. It'd be like on every exhale. Be like, "Ah," like, I'm not gonna do it. That'd be so annoying for your listeners to hear it in the microphone. But man, it's like on every exhale, it's like it's yelling, angry noise. Oh my goodness. But like that jarring, random crying in her sleep she didn't wake me. It's so hard when you have an angry or
yeah.
crying baby all the time. It just, wears on you. And I feel like it wears it. I mean, I don't know your situation, but for my husband, it was horrible timing because he was working on his thesis for his master's degree. And it was like he could not deal with the constant crying and yelling when he was trying to focus and concentrate. So he had to, noise canceling headphones, lock himself in his office to get his work done, which is understandable. But I felt very like abandoned out in the wild with an angry, and luckily I had one quiet one, but one very vocal, angry one. And it was rough.
Just, I mean, you have to kind of sometimes have a little
Yes,
humor in it in order to get
absolutely.
through like a hard, dark
Oh, yes.
time.
Oh, yes.
So,
Every night my husband would lay them down and be like, "Go to sleep or I'm gonna put you to sleep." Obviously, he wouldn't put them to sleep, but it just made him feel like he had some control, which he
sure,
didn't.
which you don't. Yeah.
No.
You're like,
You
I'm
can't force him to
so
sleep.
tired.
Yeah.
Please sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are obviously a twin mom.
Yeah.
You are a twin
Mhm.
and you have twin brothers.
Yes.
So were you shocked at your first ultrasound
The
or
weird
were
thing
you
is, like, kind of I think part of me expected it because twins is
sure?
all I've ever known, and I don't even know if I told you this part, but everyone who has ever lived with us for more than a couple months has had twins. So we had 2 different family friends stay with us, and immediately when they moved out, got pregnant with twins. My girls, when they were twins, the friend on the beach, she was their babysitter, and she got pregnant with twins, like, very unexpectedly. I know 4 or 5 twin moms that have either lived in our house or just come into a lot of close contact with us. For some reason, it just seemed like, of course I have twins.
Right. Like that's your
Yeah.
norm. You're like,
But I was worried they'd both be boys because I was like, oh, I wanted twins. I got twins. What's the chance I'll get 2 girls when that's what I want? So I was really hoping because growing up with twin brothers, twin boys were amazing. You might have experienced this or you will at some point. They would break stuff constantly.
wild,
Yes, throw
feral.
things. I don't twin boys and twin girls just seem instinctively so different. I don't know why. Like their instinct was always to like throw things and eat weird things. And I don't know. And I'm sure that's just my very limited scope. That's
No,
not
no, you
all.
are pretty spot on. Pretty spot
But
on.
that's what I was worried about. I was like, oh, twin boys. When I was pregnant, I went to visit a friend, lived on one of the bases we were living by. And she was like, you should come to my house and see what it's like having twins. Even though I was like, oh, no, I kind of know, but okay. So I showed up her house. She has twin boys. She's like, oh, excuse them. They're in the middle of potty training. They're running around naked. One of them dumps his full potty on the ground. The other one's like yelling. One of them runs outside against the glass door and just starts peeing against the glass door. She's continuing her conversation with me, not even acknowledge them like this is
Like
also
that's her
normal.
baseline.
Yes, I was looking around going, "Oh my gosh, if I have twin boys, this can't be what it's like." It was
It's
horrifying.
wild. So
Mhm,
I will tell you a quick story about
mhm.
our experience on Thanksgiving
Uh-oh.
where three wild things happened in the same day.
Oh, fun.
Okay, so my boys picked up these glass birds and threw them, which then did in fact shatter
Oh,
all over. So
yes.
that was the first offense.
Fun.
And like we discipline our children.
Yeah.
Like we're not trying to let them run
Yeah.
wild.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so that's the first thing that
Uh-huh.
happened. Second, one of my sons, I think it was Wyatt, I don't know, was playing with like a Thomas train
Uh-huh.
with one of my best friends and then put it on her hair,
Oh,
and
I
then
see
it
where this is
it
going.
got stuck,
Yeah.
like real stuck.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she was such a saint. I was like, "Do you hate me? Are we still
Oh,
friends?"
no.
She was so kind. She has 2 boys. They're not
Okay. Yeah.
twins, but she
She's
is a
like, I
boy
know.
mom, so she kind of understands, though
Yes.
we had to like it was like a 30-minute ordeal. We're like taking apart
Oh,
this toy. It was okay in the end, but I was like sweating. I
oh,
was like
100%.
stressed
When it's
out.
not your kid. If it's one of my girls, I'd be like, "Oh, just cut off a little
Yeah.
chunk, fluff it up."
I'm like,
Yeah.
if it was me or in a kid's hair, it would not matter. But like
No.
my
Someone
adult
else's.
friend, and she was just trying to play with them.
Oh, it was your friends. I was
Yeah.
thinking it was
Oh
your
no,
friend's
it
daughter.
got
Oh,
stuck
it's an adult
in
woman's hair.
my adult friend's hair.
That's brutal.
Oh, so
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, that happened. So that's 2 things, the birds, the
Hair.
train in the
Yeah.
hair, and then the grand finale. So this is all in one day. Okay, we're at my in-laws' house.
No.
They had just gotten a bidet,
Uh-huh.
and I go upstairs. I tell David, "Let me just like get ready really quick
Sure.
before Thanksgiving starts. So you're in charge." And then like people are coming in. He's like saying hi to
Oh,
everybody. And I come back downstairs and everyone's like, "Where are the boys?" And I'm like, "I
I
don't
don't
know,
know.
David, where are the boys?" And he's like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
That
goodness.
sounds familiar.
So I'm looking around and they have like a powder room downstairs.
Yeah.
And I open the door and there's like
They're
5
just
kids
playing in the
and they are playing in the bidet.
Oh, of course. How
Like
exciting. It's like a drinking fountain,
a
but attached to a
splash
twin.
pad. I was like, this is
Oh,
disgusting.
no.
So, and this, like, my mother in law's about to host like 40 people for Thanksgiving.
No.
So I'm trying to like
Clean up all the water.
clean up the minor flooding that has happened in her bathroom. And then I'm like, do we bathe them or like what? It was
Oh,
just,
that's brutal. And yeah, sounds about right.
it was crazy.
Yes.
So that is a day in the life of being a twin mom of 2 boys. So
Yes.
I'm so thankful you have girls.
Yes. I mean, I did have one bug eater for a little bit, but luckily we got over that pretty quick. But for the most part, they didn't put weird things in their mouth and they really weren't destructive. Like even my little toddler, he is a lot more like the girls would have never thought to take toy cars and just run them up and down the walls,
Sure.
and just ride little bikes, slam it into a cabinet holding a glass display, like a pastry display, which also, we've had a few glass explosion experiences. Thank the Lord, it did not land on him. It kind of somehow shot over him. But,
Boys are
boys are different.
they're a different breed.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Okay, so back to you found out you had girls.
Yeah.
So what did your husband say? Like
Oh,
first
okay.
ultrasound.
So first ultrasound, when we found out it was twins, he was kind of laughing. I think he kind of thought, he knew it was a possibility, but at the same time, he had never held a baby before I had the girls. So for him, it was the whole experience seemed a little daunting. So two, he took it in stride initially, and then they said it was girls when we found out in an ultrasound, and I did one of those obnoxious jump up and go yes, and he just looked. He's just like, oh, and he goes, "Are you sure?" Like, kept asking, "Are you sure? Like, can you look again?" He was so bummed initially, but now he is the most amazing girl dad. Like, once we had them, and honestly, after the first year or so, I feel like when he became more comfortable with them and the whole experience of his preemie twins, then he really switched gears. And then when we found out we were pregnant with a boy later, he was like, "Oh no, I don't even know how to be a boy dad, and I'm such a girl dad." So that was a bit of a challenge.
That was so my husband's name is David and her
Yes,
husband's
it's
name is
Dave.
also
Well,
David,
David.
but
Yes.
goes by Dave.
Yes.
That was his experience
Yeah.
also.
Mhm.
I feel like was scared that it was girls. It was like or a girl,
Yeah.
like that protection comes in.
Yes.
And then when she was born, it was like immediately wrapped around her little
Yes.
finger. And then
Absolutely.
the same thing with the boys. He was like, "Oh, but I'm a girl
Uh-oh. Yeah,
dad."
exactly. Now I gotta switch gears. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm. But and I don't know, I've never asked you exactly how your boys looked when they came out, but right after I had the girls and I had to have them via C-section because they were stuck breech. So after I had them, they I mean, they looked like they weren't done yet. Preemie twins, they looked like they needed another. They
What
were
week?
35 weeks is
Okay.
when I had them. So it was just pretty good.
Yeah.
And luckily I kept them till 35 in because even this happened with you too. They told me the twins were 5 pounds each at 32 weeks. They were 3 pounds, 11 ounces and 4 pounds, 7 ounces. So thank gosh I kept them in that long. But when they came out, because they were breech, it was kind of scary. Their
Mm.
legs were up by their ears. Like they were stuck in that like feet up position.
Yes, I feel like I've seen
It
pictures
is
of that.
horrible. Nobody told me, and I thought they were had something wrong because their legs were like literally stuck up by their ears,
Mm,
and the doctor kept like, "No, no, no, they'll come down." Like it looked alarming to see a
sure.
tiny, purpley little wrinkly baby with its legs up by its ears, and I was so freaked out. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what happened? Like something is wrong." But sure enough, their legs are fine now. One of them had to have a few ultrasounds and stuff to make sure her hips were okay, but and then ended up being fine.
And how long did that take for them to, like, kind of get in more of a
Honestly,
relaxed position?
I feel like it was within the same day, and I
Oh,
can't really
okay.
remember, honestly, such a haze, but I feel like it was, like, within an hour or 2, they started relaxing a little and coming down,
Okay.
which, man, I can't even imagine being stuck in that position for so long, it sounds horrible,
Well, they were like
but
that.
they were stuck in that
Just
for a long time,
yes.
yeah. I think I knew I was gonna have to have a C-section pretty early, which I don't know if that's good or bad to know it's coming, but as of, like, 30 weeks, 32, they were just stuck, and I'm a pretty petite person, as are
Tiny.
you, but they're, like, wedged in there. They told me there's absolutely no room for them to turn around, and, I haven't really heard of success with doing that when they manipulate your belly to get babies to turn. I know it can be really painful, but I imagine with twins, that's probably a little more dangerous and or painful, so
Yeah,
they didn't even
absolutely.
try to manually move them. They're just like, "Nope, you're small." They're wedged in there.
Yeah.
So
Did you get insane comments when you were pregnant?
oh, yeah, and
People have no filter. I'm
oh,
like, "What
no.
would you say
I would
these
be
comments to a regular person?"
I would be, like, 5 months, and they're like, "Looks like that baby's gonna come out any day," and I'm like, "It's actually 2, and I'm very far away from that, but thank you." And then I would go to the gym and just float in the pool because I don't know about you, but I was so uncomfortable in my whole pregnancy.
So
Yes.
uncomfortable. I scheduled David's vasectomy when I was pregnant. I couldn't d I
Yeah,
knew that
yeah.
I physically could not
No.
handle another pregnancy. I
No.
couldn't do it.
Yeah, I've heard of twin moms being, feeling pretty okay until the end, and that's amazing. I was uncomfortable most of the pregnancy, so I would just float in the pool, like,
That's
that
fantastic.
was the only time my body felt okay, so I would just float around, and I feel like it was just me and all the ladies in, like, the aqua all those classes, aqua jogging and everything, just
The
look at me.
grandmas?
Yes, but I would be in the locker room changing in or out of my swimsuit, and man, especially older ladies, no filter. "Oh, look at you." "Oh, from behind." And I'm like, "Why are you looking at me from behind?" They'd go, "From behind, it doesn't even look like you're pregnant." And they turn aside and, "Whoa, that belly." I constantly got those comments, so that was fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got that too.
It's it's so annoying.
Mhm,
I don't
mhm.
I'm an open book. I do not mind talking about, like, my pregnancy.
Yes,
Obviously, I'm an open book.
yes,
But to some comments, I'm like, "That is hurtful." It is my body.
yes,
It was the same thing. So I feel like I was, like, maybe 5 months pregnant.
yeah,
I looked kind of immediately pregnant from the get-go.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
with Kaya, I was, like, halfway and I'm, like, sticking my belly out.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
"Look it."
Trying to emphasize the
Yes.
tiny bump, yeah.
And with
Mhm.
them, I feel like I was maybe, like it was hard to not that I was hiding my
Sure.
pregnancy, but
It was obvious to
it was
everybody.
very obvious that I
Mhm.
was pregnant. I have a picture from when I'm, like, 11 weeks, and I look I mean, not full term,
Uh-huh.
but it's very noticeable that it is a bump, where
Yes,
I didn't have a bump
yeah,
at 11 weeks with Kaya.
right.
So the boys were born June 15th is their birthday.
Okay.
So they're
Mhm.
summer, and,
Yeah.
luckily I wasn't pregnant in, like, August,
Yes.
but it gets hot in
Yep.
Texas,
Yeah.
and we're at the rodeo,
Uh-oh.
and I'm wearing, like, like a bodycon black dress or
Oh,
something,
yeah.
and I'm
Just roasting.
waddling.
Yes.
It's so
Yeah.
uncomfortable. I don't wanna be there.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like I even had, like, my hands on my back while
Yeah.
I'm walking,
Uh-huh.
and she was like, "Girl, looks like you need to go to the hospital. Those that baby's gonna come out, or is it 2?" And I'm like, "It is 2,
Yeah, but
and
thank
I
you.
still have 4 months."
Yes, so much longer
So,
to go.
I feel like where I'm almost, like, about to cry, like,
Yes.
there's still 4 months
Yes.
left.
Yes, people
How
are
can I
oblivious, and I think they're curious.
Sure, yeah.
And when people find out you have twins, oh my gosh, I know you heard this too because people cannot hold it in. They'll be like, "You're having twins? Oh my gosh, my neighbor's friends just had twins." It's like the most you're like, "Okay."
Like, they wanna find a
They want to yes, they
connection.
want to find a twin connection. It's so funny. Or like
Yeah.
my grandma's cousin. Yeah, whatever. It's going to be some weird relation they know that had twins or you're just like, "What do I do with this info?" Okay. Thanks.
So, what's the most unhinged comment that you've ever received?
Oh,
Okay.
so I was at checkout at Target, and the cashier looked at the twin babies, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, twins! Did you have them normally or?" And I'm like, "Normally?" She goes, "Like from your vagina or from a
Stop.
C-section?" And I was like, we didn't even use the right terminology. Also, C-section is still normal. They're not
Sure,
abnormal, and
absolutely.
I'm just like, "Oh, that's such an intrusive question to ask a stranger." So I thought
Very
that was
personal.
weird. And then one other comment is when I also had the twins and to be fair, it is a unique carrier where you carry both twins side by side on front facing you. But I wore that all the time. And I was somewhere in some grocery store and some lady came up to me and goes, "Oh my gosh, I need one of those, but instead of babies, I'm gonna put wine bottles in." Just what? Like, that's a thought you should keep to yourself. It is just so weird. Like, people just they see you with twins and it's just like, "Let me chat. Let me tell you what's on my mind." I don't know what it is.
And I feel like people can't help themselves. Like
No.
we were saying, like they just want to find a connection. Twins
Yes.
are very interesting,
Mhm.
and I do not mind chatting at all.
Right.
It's like the comments that are more like mean or
Yes.
well, I was at Costco once. I don't know why the weirdest comments I've ever received are from like at people at Costco. I don't know. I actually have a sweater that says, "Yes, they're twins. Yes, they're
That's
identical."
amazing.
And I wear it to like
Yes,
this is
because 'cause you're
my
like,
Costco
"Yay,"
sweatshirt.
then you don't need all the comments, like, "You have a question? Here you go." I
Yeah.
love that so
It's
much.
just cute. Like the front says like twin mom era. It's very cute.
Yes.
But I wear that to Costco. So we're at Costco and I do tend to dress the boys alike
Uh-huh.
because it's just easy.
Easier.
Like when we're
Mhm.
at a park, it's easy for me to spot them. When I'm shopping, it's easy for me to grab
Sure.
two. But this day they were not.
Uh-huh.
I think they were wearing hand-me-downs. One was in like a camo onesie
Uh-huh.
and the other one was in like a maroon onesie.
Uh-oh, I know where this is going.
Yeah, okay. So someone walks up and they're like, "Oh, is it boy girl twins?" And I'm like, "Oh no, they're both boys."
Uh-huh.
And she was like, "Are you sure? Because he's wearing purple." And I was like, "I'm positive that
Yeah.
both of
Yeah.
my boys are in fact boys."
Yes. Do you wanna check?
Yeah, like, "Are you gonna
Absolutely.
argue?"
Yeah. That is
And then she's
wild.
like calling me out for
Yes.
putting him in a
Oh,
non-boy color.
that happened to us numerous times when the girls or one of them would be wearing green or some yellow or whatever, and because they were both bald until they're about to. I mean, they didn't have a lot of hair, maybe 1.5. They didn't have much hair, and so people thought that all the time. At least one of them was a boy, and that was always fun too. Yeah, the "Are you sure?" is amazing.
Yes,
The
it's very
audacity.
funny. I'm like, Pretty sure
Yes. What
to check."
right? One time my mom told me when she was walking so 2 sets of twins, of course, and we were only 3 years apart, so it looks like a ton of little babies, you know? So she was walking with my twin and I and our twin brothers, but we were all toddlers or babies, so we were in a carrier, and I think what they used to do is because they didn't make a like a quadruple carrier back then, what my parents used to do is put us in a double stroller and then secure the twin babies on our laps. Like each little toddler had their own baby to hold on to
Oh my
and kind
gosh,
of
that's
secure us
I
in,
would love a
which is
picture.
so adorable. I'll have to dig one up. But one time some guy came up to my mom. She's those 4 kids are yours, all those babies. Women like you should be shot and just
Oh,
hung. And she was just
no.
horrified. She's like, because some people, I guess, have a problem if you have too many kids. I don't know where that comment came from, but it's
4 isn't as many as, like,
yeah,
8.
that was the craziest that I've heard. And yeah, I just people just need to say something when they see you with twins and hopefully it's gonna be something nice. And if it's something rude, you just kind of move on. But I mean, I don't know what I would have done if someone said that to me. I would feel like I would have kicked them at least.
I don't even know. I
Who knows?
That is very shocking and
Yes.
so
So
inappropriate.
alarming. Yeah.
I feel like I would have been so caught off guard that I
Yeah,
would
I
have
would have been
just, like
stunned, honestly. I think that's what my mom did. She just kind of stood there like, what just happened?
yeah,
Yeah.
you can't see my face, but I'm doing, like, a
Yeah.
"What?"
Very shocked face.
Very, very shocked. I feel
Yeah.
like that's what I would do and then probably
Yes.
just walk away.
Right? And then you'd be thinking about it all day, probably, at least I would. I'd be dwelling on it all day, like, "Why would they say that?" Like, such a unnecessary why?
Yeah. I love, like, a "You go, mom." Like,
Yes,
"You got this. You're doing a great
absolutely.
job." That always makes me
Warms your
those don't happen very
no,
often. They should
not
happen
enough.
more,
Yes.
but that makes you feel good, like, "Okay, I'm
Mhm.
struggling, but, like, someone from the outside thinks I'm doing a good job or
Absolutely.
I'm trying." I hate the comments that are like, "Better you than me."
Oh,
I'm
yes.
like, "Thank God."
Or looks like you have your hands full, and it's always when you literally like, I walked out of a gym holding 1 toddler under each arm, both screaming. Some, ladies walking by going, "Oh, looks like you have your hands full." I'm like, "Lady,
Like,
you wanna
don't
help with something?
Yes.
Carrying 2 bags, 2 babies, or screaming." Read the room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, read the room.
Yes. Oh, the hands full comment kills me every time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love that, "Yes, my hands are full, but so is my heart."
Yes, that's very sweet. But that's a sweet way to spin it for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So we've talked a bit about the girls, and now that they're 10,
Yeah.
how did you guys and how are you handling school? Are they together?
Yes,
Are they separate?
a lot of people ask me that, and for some reason, it never crossed my mind to keep them separated. I think the other twin parents I know who do, it's usually because they're too disruptive or talkative. I was always kept with my twin sister, and we kind of have the same dynamics where she was more outgoing when we were younger. Like,
What?
yeah, we're opposite now, but she was more outgoing when we were younger, and I had her talk for me half the time. We went to a very small Japanese elementary school where we only had one class, so we had to go
You have
together.
so many interesting facts about you.
Yes. Side note, both my twin and I speak Japanese. Yes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So, but we were always together and I loved that, especially being the shyer one. And so when I put the girls in school and now they go to a huge elementary school that honestly looks like a college to me. It's so fancy. And I was asked that question. I got to choose and I always ask them together. And I figure I'll keep them together unless they ask to be apart. But one is much more outgoing and confident than the other one. And it actually helps the quieter one be more confident to have her sister there to kind of cheer her on. So, so far, so good, I think. And then they'll have to be split up some when they get into middle school, high school,
Mm,
when you do all the periods and the shorter classes.
sure.
So, yeah, I've always kept them together. Honestly, it's easier too when it comes to only one teacher, teacher parent conference, all the, school events, school parties. I think it's way easier just to stick with them in one class.
Yeah. Well, I will say, obviously, my boys are only 2.5,
Hmm.
but it is like a gut reaction. They should be together. Like
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
how I feel.
Yeah.
And I was actually looking at a preschool that they are not going to go to because it is their policy to separate twins.
Really? That's
It,
crazy.
that was like caught
Hmm.
me off guard also.
Yeah.
I was like, is that your
Yeah.
hard and fast policy? Like there's
Right.
no flexibility? And they were like, no, we just immediately separate twins. So then I was like, okay, well then this is a no.
Yeah.
This is a no for us.
Yeah. To play devil's advocate a little bit, I do see the argument that you want them to have their own personality, be treated as an individual. And I get that. But at the same time, my heart would be like, no, they need to be together. And also, I just feel more like, I don't know, I feel like they're safer together. I don't know what all this is and if it's really a thing or not. But I just feel like when they have each other, I'm also more likely to hear two different points of view if anything happened, or they can both like tell me about what happened at school if there's ever an incident. I just feel
Sure.
like it's a safer thing. But also, I really get the argument that you want them to be treated separately because my sister and I had not really an issue with it, but it affected me a ton when she left for college early because she went to the Naval Academy, a military college, and you have to leave in the summertime. And I was staying at my local University of Oregon. So I was staying in my, hometown where I'd grown up. Everything was comfortable. And she was going across the country, other side of the country. And as part of their plebe summer, the military academy, they're not allowed to call home. Two times during a whole summer can you call home to your parents.
That's
Otherwise, you
rough.
have no contact. And so for me, it was like went from, being next to my sister all day. I never was split up from her. And then she's gone. I have no contact. It really messed with me. And it really, I'm trying to keep from crying, but it made me feel like a part of me
You
was
can cry.
missing,
It's okay.
like, and I
It's going
think,
to make me cry.
yeah, I think when you're a twin, you really have a special bond. And I did feel like a part of me was being torn away. And that was super, super hard. Like I went through such an exercise obsession. I was trying to find an outlet for my like the loss. It felt like a
Mm,
loss, like grief. And I became obsessed with exercising and eating, and I started to control everything in my life. I don't know if it's because we weren't prepared for that. And I don't know if separate classes would have really ever done that, but we did a little bit in middle school and high school. But I think when you become an adult, it's kind of like when you're ready to leave the house. It's like a part of you, you know, unless you go to the same college and live next door to each other forever, which would be amazing. I wish we could live next door to each other. But when you're not with your twin, it's like something's missing. And it took me a long time to feel like I was recovered from that and able to make like close friends. Whereas before it felt like no one could really be my close friend because I already had that person in my life. So yeah, that was a huge, huge adjustment. So I can see why people would want to split them up because you do want them to have your own personality. At the same time, you're taking away their closest
right.
person.
Like their built-in best friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that was a beautiful thing about after the girls got over that initial, first 2 years of a lot of sleep torture and a lot of hard times. Once twins start playing together, it is the cutest thing ever. They become instant best friends. They talk, the giggles, the songs they make up. My sister and I would have like our own made up stuff we would do. We would put each other to sleep every night by humming Christmas songs and have each other guess what the song was. We made up all these cute nighttime games, and it is the most special thing. So I think it's important to yes, try to treat your twins as individual people, but also foster their relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Since you are also a twin, how do you think that changes the way that you parent your twins?
I really try to spend a little bit of individual time with them. And that's something my parents never did. And they were both working full time. I get it. My parents are great parents, but they never spent one on one time with us that we can really remember. I think one time my twin sister was sick and then I got to hang out with my dad a little bit. He like took me to work. But the most part, we were always together in a pair, and we always did, at least until the middle school, high school, we did the same sports, all the same things. One of my girls loves golf, so we're letting her do golf, and the other one doesn't. So we're actually letting her do singing lessons. And it is kind of a pain because it's so much easier to keep them in the same stuff. I know where my parents did that. You don't have to drive all over, different times, different schedules. But it's really important, I think, to foster their individual skills and what they want to do. And we do mommy daughter dates, daddy daughter dates, but like one at a time. Sometimes I'll take one girl to the coffee shop by myself, one girl to the smoothie store or shop, wherever. So we get to do what they want to do one on one. So that I think it helps a little bit too. So they don't just feel like lumped in as the same person, which is what my sister and I felt like a lot. Especially growing up, our friends, and this is landline time. So no one deals with this anymore. Our friends would call our house even and say, "Can I talk to Sarah or Maya?" And I would get so mad because I would be like,
Which one?
yeah. Do you want to talk to Sarah or Maya? And she'd
Right.
be like, oh, I don't care. It's just like, he's so annoying. 'Cause you're like, we're not the same person.
Yeah.
Like, you drive me up the wall.
That's interesting. So obviously my boys are only 2.5, so their peers are
Yes.
toddlers.
Yes.
But they are in like a small Mother's Day out program a few hours a week. And the teachers have said that people will call them Waylon Wyatt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh, that's so interesting. Like they just think of them as a pair.
Yeah.
So how do you cultivate, like you were saying, that amazing twin bond and make sure that each one has their own individuality? And I think you guys are doing, I mean, everything that you said, I'm like, love that, gonna use that. And
Focus one on one and see what they're into and their interests and see what they want to do. Yeah, and it's true. Even now, my girls older, they get annoyed now. Some of their friends, especially if they have younger siblings, they do call them Blair Ivy. Like
mm,
Blair Ivy, one name. It's just like every time they see Blair or Ivy, they'll just look at them and go, Blair Ivy, Blair Ivy. And I could tell
like,
it
huh,
annoys them. They're like, my name is Blair. They want to
sure.
like reiterate. There's only so much you can do. I think little kids do have a hard time, especially if they're identical, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of their peers are just like, I don't know, it's one of them, but annoying, but what can you do really?
Well, and I love that you guys are offering them different activities. So when I was pregnant, I met a mom who is a twin.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, as an adult twin, what are things that you liked that your parents did? And what are things that you didn't like? And she said, I think out of convenience, we were kind of forced to do the same sport and we did soccer. And my sister is this soccer star
Yeah.
and I sucked at soccer.
Yeah.
And it wasn't fun. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, that's how we were. My sister always did track. And I remember freshman year, I was dubbed the slow twin. She was the fast twin. She's also 5'8" and I'm 5'3". Like we have a big height difference.
Yes, I
Yeah.
ran into you guys at the coffee shop and I was a little taken aback when you were like, "Oh, this is my twin." And I was like, so my boys are identical and you guys are fraternal. And of course, fraternal may look similar, but you absolutely look related, but the height difference was shocking.
She's tall and thin. I'm just short and little.
So petite.
Yeah. We've always looked pretty different. But yeah. So Sarah was the fast twin.
Mm.
She was always dubbed the skinny one or the fast twin, which also gave me a whole bunch of identity issues, and I hated being the slow twin. And finally my parents let me quit track and cross country after me consistently being in the back. And I was like, I hate life. She's up there always winning races or in the top, finishing the top few. And I'm back here, everyone's looking at me like, what's wrong with that one? I think at some point it's not healthy to keep them in the same sport if one is really far behind the other. I think that's just almost like a punishment for that.
Sure. Well, I feel like being compared to anyone is challenging. And then being compared to your twin, I can imagine that feels not good.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part about being a twin, honestly, is just the constant comparison. Like my sister, she is one of those people that math clicks with her. When I was in school, I would ask her for help with homework, and she just looked at me like, "Why don't you understand?"
Hmm.
It didn't cross her mind you could not understand math. And for me, I get so frustrated because I'm like, I don't understand how you understand. And my dad used to get so annoyed if I didn't understand. He would get so annoyed at me, like, Sarah gets it. How come you're not getting it?
Hmm.
So the comparison in school, academics or anything physical, sports, people making comments about our bodies because they were so thin. I mean, she looked like she was starving half the time because she was going through growth spurts and, her biggest part of her legs were her knees, like she looked like she was like,
Little lanky, bony
yeah,
girl.
I hated comments when people call her too skinny. I hated comments when I heard she's a skinny one and I was the other one because in my mind I meant the fat one. When you're a kid, when you're compared, you just automatically assume. I think I put her on a pedestal a lot too, and because she was always like glorified as, "Oh, the one she's going into the Naval Academy. She's like how
Mm,
brave and she's so brave and smart and top of her class and she's such like she was a cross country star going to run for Navy." And I just felt like the one on the sidelines for a lot at the time, I think too. Doing my own thing. I did ballet and I did cheer and I tried to follow my own passions as well, but it felt very much still like I was always compared to her. And I think that's hard. I really try not to compare my girls, but it's hard because academically I can see one is stronger right now.
hmm,
I really, really make sure I'm not like having their papers out side by side or anything like that. I don't want them to be like looking at each other's work. And it's hard though. It's a hard balance to really make sure they're getting the attention they need and the support they need, but without comparing. And I don't want to always be like, come here and tell the one that's maybe struggling a little bit, come here, let's work extra practice on this. And then have her twin there, like watching TV or something because she gets a reward. I'm trying to make it very much like, while this twin is reading, let the other twin come over here and like, let's just do some practice now.
sure. Well, and I think that's so good to be like cognizant of it. It's like, okay, because that was something that affected you as a young twin to make sure that you're not doing that. I feel like that's really good advice for all twins because I feel like no one ever wants to put someone down and say, "Why aren't you like this person?" So my boys are so tiny.
Yeah.
They are in like the second percentile for weight. So sometimes when one of them is eating more, I'll be like, "Look, your brother's eating this meatball." And it's like, I know that is a very big difference from comparing. That's where it starts. So I feel like trying to be more cognizant of that and not doing those comparisons because that doesn't feel good to anyone, especially I can't even imagine in a twin.
But it's very hard. It's hard, especially when you're so worried about them. You're worried about
Yes,
their size.
that's the biggest thing.
I get very worried about one of my girls. I'm constantly trying to encourage her to eat more. It's hard. It's hard. And that's it's just something you worry about. I think a lot of preemie twin parents really worry about that. When the girls, after they were born, they were so tiny. And we were just like constantly, we didn't follow any scheduled eating. It's like as much as they'll eat, whenever they'll eat, we were trying to get them to eat, which was horrible also for sleep. But
I was just going to say, I don't think the boys slept longer stretches until they were like 7 or 8 months old, maybe even later, because our pediatrician was like, oh, they need to eat
yes,
through the night. Like they need the extra calories.
oh, they made me so scared about that.
I was so worried because
Yeah.
they were so
Yeah.
small. And I made it to 37 weeks and they were still
So,
tiny. They were so tiny. Like their legs were just like sticks
yeah.
and they had no butt.
Yeah.
I remember, sending my parents pictures from the hospital and they're all wrapped up in their blanket. And then when they actually met them, they were like, oh my God, like they looked so much bigger in the pictures. Yes. I'm like, oh, because they're wrapped in blankets. And then when you actually saw their little bodies, they're
I know,
just
it was so small.
tiny.
And I always tell all my friends who are pregnant, twins or not, just so you know, do not go by the numbers they tell you because those are just estimates, their size. It's some kind of calculation with like the head circumference and length of femur. It's like a calculation.
Of like weight while you're
Yeah,
pregnant.
like I said, I guess the girls are way bigger than her. Come to find out, one of my girls has a giant head. I swear that was why. Anyway, it's not super accurate. And so whenever people are obsessed about that number, I'm like, don't
Let it
even,
go.
yeah, don't even worry about it. Look at it like that number's probably not right because it's an estimate. So don't freak out over an estimate. You don't really have control over it. You just try to keep them in as long as you physically can. It was brutal.
Yeah. Twins, man. So fun and so crazy.
But once you get past that crazy part, it's amazing. They're best friends. They love each other. You see this beautiful bond, and it twins are the best thing ever once you get over that sleep deprivation.
So, as a twin mom for 10 years, what is a piece of advice or like hope that you can give to a mom who has young twins?
You just got to get through those hard times. And my biggest takeaway is communicate with your partner, spouse, husband, wife, whatever. You really need to communicate. That is the biggest thing because I have seen this over and over in marriages where not just all marriages, but I think especially when you have twin babies, they're very needy. that is the time that's most important for you to come together, and then the easiest time to split apart and kind of sink into your own self and just hold resentment. So the biggest thing is communicate with your partner, communicate with each other, and then you can't really go wrong. You just really need to keep that communication open and love open and just keep saying, I love you, and ask each other what you need. That is the biggest thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you would like to share? It's been such a fun conversation. I've loved chatting about your relationship with your twin and fostering independence and also the amazing twin bond between your girls. It's been so fun to chat.
Just embrace it. I know everyone says that it's not annoying. The time flies though, but I know in the moment it does not feel like it. And there are times when you have a twin baby and newborns, especially, you're like, I hope this time flies. I would love for it to fly by, And take a lot of pictures. If you're like me, you might black out a lot of stuff because I was so tired all the time. I feel like a horrible mom that I have almost no memory of the first year and a half outside of my photos and videos.
I don't either. The first year is really quite a blur. Like I think even David said, I don't remember that, but I know there's a picture of it.
Take pictures, take videos. Now it's probably easier than it was 10 years ago since everyone has smartphones in their pocket. But
Yes, I think I have like 17,000 picture. It's something ridiculous. It had a lot of pictures. So
yeah,
I love that. And I love the advice of like staying strong with your partner. I always have to remind myself, especially when I'm very tired, we are on the same team. Like anything that he has said that is hurt my feelings or whatever, like that most likely is not his intention. Yeah.
and you say some crazy stuff when you're tired.
Mm.
Sometimes you're tired, you say something, and it's like, why would you say that? And you're like, I don't know. I'm just, throwing words out there. Just
Right, I'm thinking out loud.
just be aware of your words to your partner and your spouse. Just try to be as loving as you can because you are on the same team. That's a great way of saying that.
Well, thank you so much. That was so much fun.
Thank you.
And I would love to have you on again. There's so many topics to discuss. So we'll have maybe a round two in the future. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy twin mom life to listen along. I hope this podcast shed some light on a topic that's been on your heart and gave you more confidence as a twin mama. If you know a twin mom, please send this her way. If you like what you heard today, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Check out the show notes to be connected with today's guest and get discount codes for brands I love. See you next Thursday. Until then, you were made for this.